Blake Lively might have just done herself in this battle with Justin Baldoni, although she didn't do it intentionally. It was something she said
long before she ever worked with Justin Baldoni.
Right, but there's something she said that has now been resurfaced, and it is right on the nose as far as what the issues are in her battle with Justin Baldoni.
It's really winning this war between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. The powerful smear machine is still going, but what's really crazy is this new person she hired. We got a lot to discuss.
Well.
It seems Blake Lively just got ghosted by her own legal counsel after Justin Baldwin's team hit the internet with a batch of explosive new evidence no one saw coming. Word is, the second her attorney caught wind of what was about to drop, she pulled out faster than Blake could mutter, "It ends with us." No respected lawyer wants their name dragged through a circus of baseless claims and sketchy tactics. And let's be real, this case was starting to look more like a legal magic trick than a solid fight.
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit. It's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process to take.
Sources say Blake didn't just twist the story in public. She may have fed lies to her own legal team too, reportedly hiding vital details that left them scrambling under pressure. And if that weren't enough, she allegedly belittled her, lawyer questioned her work, and even dodged payment. Imagine biting the hand that's supposed to save you in court. At first, it all looked promising. After filing the suit and seemingly having outlets like the New York Times in her corner, Blake probably thought she had a slam dunk. Her lawyer, Miel Koninsky, likely agreed, until Justin's camp dropped a truth bomb that crushed her entire case. Public support flipped fast, and suddenly Blake and Ryan Reynolds were on defense. Insiders claim Koninsky walked away once it became obvious the case was riddled with holes and Blake was impossible to work with. Now her image is collapsing right alongside her claims.
William Morris's CEO, Ari Emanuel, made it seem like a moral act of loyalty, like that exists in Hollywood. He heaped praise on Ryan and Blake as soulfully beautiful people, flawless really. He mocked Baldoni in the process. He said, it's an effed up bad situation with what Baldoni, whatever his name is doing. Now, he said Lively and Reynolds are good people. They've been in the business for decades and have never had any bad press about them, and all the people that work with them like them. Okay,
By now, it's no surprise people are calling Blake the queen of mean in Hollywood. Almost every former co-worker has a horror story or awkward encounter to share. Watch any old interview and you'll catch her throwing shade or dropping flat-out rude comments. Her career honestly feels like a graveyard of scorched relationships. At first, her team tried to smooth it over, saying she was just misunderstood or had a quirky humor people didn't get. Some excused it as shyness or dry jokes gone wrong, but after a while, the curtain drops. Blake isn't misunderstood. She just seems emotionally disconnected and unaware of how she treats others. And that kind of energy, it can't stay hidden forever. Eventually, people start seeing the truth. And for Blake, that moment has clearly arrived.
Congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
They are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you. You like the movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working in digital.
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
Then there's that cringeworthy interview. Blake was asked how she'd want fans to approach her if they were inspired by Lily's story involving trauma like DV or SA. Instead of offering any ounce of empathy, she cracked an inappropriate joke about sharing their location. The moment fell completely flat and left many viewers stunned at how insensitive and clueless her answer was.
Most of us, if we're lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public, we only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie, on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their life. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could I'm just curious about
social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking...
Even her co-star couldn't keep his reaction in check. He literally rolled his eyes and shifted uncomfortably when Blake made that comment. But are we really shocked? This is the same woman who once called her co-stars monkeys and took public jabs at Leighton Meester over her personal background. Yup, during the Gossip Girl promo run, Blake joked about Leighton being born in prison, using a deeply personal life detail as cheap comedy fodder during interviews.
Recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's
frenemies. Is that the new term, frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
A moment by me.
Remember Savannah.
It was another promise was no pet monkey. Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them. Come on, it was a joke. Lord have mercy.
Your wardrobe?
That is important. Very good. It's very important. This is wardrobe. This is wardrobe. This was on the return rack. I think it was hers. So I had to go and like slip them cash.
To be fair, Leighton Meester has openly discussed being born in prison, so it wasn't a secret. But still, what gave Blake the right to turn something so personal into a punchline? As people dug deeper, it became clear that Blake and Leighton's on-screen friendship didn't reflect real life. Rumors swirled that Blake was cold and often dismissive toward Leighton while filming, and cast members allegedly felt torn between the two. Their personalities clashed. Blake, loud and demanding. Leighton, quiet and grounded. But it wasn't just Gossip Girl. Similar patterns appeared during It Ends With Us. Insiders say Blake tried to take creative control, stirred up drama on set, and even pressured Justin to change scenes without consulting him. Things reached a breaking point when she dropped that lawsuit, and boom, media outlets like the New York Times mysteriously had a detailed article ready to go almost instantly. That piece, titled "We Can Bury Anyone," came out less than a day later and felt so slanted it raised serious eyebrows. Was Blake feeding them info ahead of time to control the story and spin Justin as the villain? That's what a lot of people now believe.
Out against the New York Times in newly obtained court documents. And I read what happened, so you don't have to. Baldonia stated that a jury must decide if the New York Times is responsible for its involvement with his ongoing legal battle against Blake Lively. In court documents filed on Friday, March 14th, Justin Baldonia stated that the New York Times has long presumed itself beyond accountability, not here, and that the New York Times went past merely reporting. He then went on that the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative by publishing Blake Lively's complaint info, and that the fair report privilege that the New York Times seeks to hide behind does not protect it from liability for maliciously colluding with Lively and her cohort to publish a false and defamatory hit piece about the Wayfarer parties, wrongly casting them as villains and making them scapegoats for Lively's well-publicized media missteps. The New York Times responded in a statement to us, stating that the flaws in the Wayfarer Baldoni case were made clear last week in their own legal filing when they asked the court for yet another opportunity to amend their complaint to try and make it legally sufficient.
Something about it just didn't add up. The New York Times article...
Something about that New York Times article just didn't sit right. From the headline alone, it reeked of bias. If you've read it, you know what I mean. It read less like reporting and more like a guilty verdict stamped on Justin before any facts could come out. The kicker? The lawsuit had only been filed mere hours before the article dropped. That's not just rushed journalism. It looks like a pre-planned hit piece. The irony is wild. While the article painted Justin as the mastermind of a smear campaign, it was actually doing just that to him. Worse, neither Justin, his producing partner Steve Sowitz, nor anyone at Wayfarer Studios was contacted for comment. It crossed a line from unethical journalism into what looks like a calculated attempt to damage a man's career, printing half-truths without context, leaving no room for balance. That's not reporting, that's sabotage. And Justin didn't take it lying down. He clapped back hard with a $400 million defamation suit naming the Times, Blake, and Ryan. The timing of the article couldn't have been more destructive. It dropped before most people even heard about the lawsuit, which meant it set the tone for everything that followed. The court of public opinion had already ruled against him. After that, no matter what Justin said, it looked like damage control. And let's not forget Blake's shady behavior. Her lawsuit had too many red flags. Key text messages redacted, HR complaints missing dates. It all felt very one-sided, like someone carefully curating a story instead of telling the whole truth.
Of these HR complaints, do you know the dates?
There's no dates. The dates are redacted. The names of the complainants are redacted, except for on one of them, there's an M. And in Blake's original, when she went to Sony, and by the way, they're not to Wayfarer Studios, Justin's company, they're to Sony, the distributor, to their HR department, and there's an M in there, which means at least one of the other ones came around the same time, if it's May, unless it was March, but probably May, same time.
And sure enough, it didn't take long for Blake's version of events to unravel. All it took was Justin releasing a few behind-the-scenes clips and screenshots of their text conversations, and suddenly the cracks in Blake's case became impossible to ignore. What once looked like a strong legal attack now appears to be falling apart at the seams. Insiders are saying Blake's team is now scrambling behind closed doors, desperate to meet with Justin's camp and negotiate some sort of private resolution. After all the backlash, they're finally realizing this isn't a battle they can win. What's left of Blake's legal support reportedly sees the writing on the wall. The best option now is to resolve things quietly, before more receipts surface. And honestly, can you blame them? If your client had been stretching the truth, redacting evidence, and making inflated claims from the very beginning, you'd probably want to avoid the courtroom spotlight too. There's talk that her own team is considering a full retreat before this legal fight exposes even more of what's really been going on behind the scenes.
Look through every document, every email, every text message, listen to stories, listen to the history of what he's been through, listen to voice notes, and really try to evaluate, the strength of the defense of the case. And frankly, in this case, the strength of his claims. And like a lawyer is obligated to do, really want to make sure that I go through, as much as possible to really understand what exactly happened, or at least what it seems like.
But here's where things get even more intense. Justin's attorney, Brian Friedman, isn't even considering the idea of a settlement. As far as he's concerned, it's not an option, it's not negotiable, and it's certainly not on the table. In a recent episode of the Town podcast with Matthew Baloney, Friedman laid it all out. He explained that the damage done to Justin goes far beyond financial. His mental health, emotional stability, and even the well-being of his wife and kids have taken major hits. This isn't about headlines or attention. It's about justice. According to Friedman, Blake's accusations caused lasting harm that no check could possibly repair. How do you put a price on emotional devastation, on a career nearly destroyed by lies? In his view, the only path forward is through trial, letting a jury hear the full story and decide who's telling the truth. It's about exposing the abuse of media power, not just clearing Justin's name. And with how things are going, the real surprise would be if Blake's legal rep actually sticks around. Even Ryan Reynolds seems to want nothing to do with it. He's already filed to be removed from any involvement in the case. The message is clear. He's done being dragged into a war he never signed up for.
Rips into Ryan Reynolds and his motion to dismiss. I was waiting for Brian Friedman's response to Ryan Reynolds now wanting out of the lawsuit, and we finally got it. Friedman told TMZ Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement
extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse. Mr. Reynolds was a key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME into dropping Justin as a client and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible. He goes on to say his fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day one. Mr. Reynolds now attempts to reduce plainly cognizable names to hurt feelings, sending a clear message that bullying is acceptable. After lighting a match, Mr. Reynolds now seeks to run from the flames. It won't work. The Wayfarer party's claims against him are real and they are serious. Mr. Reynolds can appear on as many sketch shows as he wants and feebly try to make a light of his current situation, but we will not stop until he is held accountable for his actions. I love that Brian Friedman is not afraid to speak his mind, speak the truth, and I love how much he defends Justin Baldoni. Obviously, I know he's Justin's lawyer, he's getting paid probably really good money, but he really goes and fights for Justin.